mistake. I was testing something out earlier on, so we're good to go. We're good to go. We're good to go. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So just so you know, you can follow me. You can watch me on Twitch, on Periscope, or Twitter, or YouTube, Mixer. It's all there for you. And I'm actually testing and piloting something on my blog post. I'm trying to see if I can, enable the live stream directly from my website. So you can go to my website and actually watch that. So, like I mentioned, sometime, from last week and, this past couple of weeks, people have been asking me, okay, Sam, so I have data on premise. How would I be able to connect it to Power Apps? Some people come to me and like, well, I have installed the on-premise data gateway, but it's still not working. Something it's wrong. Yes, I can understand. It's sometimes confusing, and it's sometimes also a bit complicated. Not as much as we want it to be, but I really trust and believe that the team at the Microsoft Power Platform and the on-premise data gateway team is trying to work this out and make it a lot more easier. So, in today's episode, I'm going to show you how to do that. Um, but before we get into it, as always, we need to make some announcement because that's, we keep you informed on what's happening in the community. So let's give me just a sec. Let's sort this out. Okay, so let's get right into it. So the first announcement is it's just a week to go on the 15th of February at NIT. The Accra Power Platform User Group, in collaboration with the .NET and myself and other people, were hosting the Ghana edition of the Global Power Platform Bootcamp. Come join myself, Yao, Idris, all the great speakers and great technical power addict as we go through a whole day of hands-on workshop, hackathons, use case building. Come with your laptop, come with your idea. Let's have fun. It's 15th of February, starting from 9 to 5 p.m. Don't forget that. That is the one. Now, I think there's a lot of noise about this, so I can start talking about it. Don't also forget that the the West African business store is coming up, and I'll be sending you more info as it unfolds. So make a date with me on that as well. I'll try to share more information about that. Well, with that much to do, let's get right into it. So, the times that you really have on-premise data, maybe it could be in MySQL, it could be in Postgres, it could be in Microsoft SQL Server, and you want to use this data in your Power Apps, in your Automate, in your Power BI. Now, the go-to solution to do this is to use the on-premise data gateway. So sometimes, immediately the very first thing you do is you jump into it, you go download the on-premise data gateway, you install it, you set up all this, and then you realize that, okay, there's a problem. I'm not able to do this, I'm not able to do that. So today, I'm going to show you what I did, and then I'm going to uninstall everything, and then we'll walk through the process again. And whilst walking through the process, I'll explain some of the challenges I faced and how I fixed them and things you need to know so that you don't find yourself in the same situation. So let's do that. So let me bring here in view. Let's go here. And yes, before I forget, the 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 Power AI, okay, the AI builder. Donna and her team are piloting something. If you want to, if you have a use case and you want to use the AI builder, please connect with Donna. I think I have the link somewhere here. I'll pull up the link and share. Fill up the form. Send your use case if you are picked. They're going to work with you hand in hand to get that proof of concept done for you. So don't forget that. Check that out. All right, so as you can see in my connections right now, I have, let me zoom this up. Okay, so as you can see, I have two connections right now. I have one for Postgres and I have one for a local Microsoft SQL Server. All right, so let's bring all that up. Let me bring the SQL Server up so you can see all that. Okay, all right. So whilst let me bring it here. Just pull it here. Okay. So I'm going to connect, and this is a demo instance I created that just has one database called demo. In this demo database, actually, there is also a table, one table called contact. So let me zoom in, select all from contact. So let's run this. And as you can see, let me bring my zoom it tool here and bring this out. So as you can see, this is the response for welcome, Yao. It's awesome to have you on the show. Awesome, awesome. Yeah, we're going to have fun. So as you can see, this query, select all from contacts, returns just one line. All right. Now, this is a local SQL server on my workstation, on my local machine right now. So how do we connect this, okay, to our Power Apps and then do stuff around it? And if you realize it's just one record that we have, okay, let's do this. Um, And yeah, I'm actually going to call you on this one. I'm waiting for you to come and do your Power Virtual Agent on the show. So please prepare. I'm pulling you in. All right. So let's go back. Now that we know that we know we have this, I'm going to also bring into perspective here my Postgres instance. So I have another a similar it's the same data structure, it's the same contact table, but this time in my Postgres, as you can see. So if I go ahead, I think I've already run this, and then I select all from contact. So as you can see here also I don't have any record in the Postgres instance, but I have one record in the Microsoft SQL Server instance. All right. So yes, yeah, this is a big ambush. So I deliberately ambushed you on the show. Okay, so let's go for it. Let's do it. So now let's go back to our app. And I'm going to reduce this a bit. So right within your Power Apps, okay, if you go to makethepowerapps.com, once you come to this portal, now we're going to do, a model-driven one. So we're building on top of our data, not a Canvas application, all right, because we're building on top of the data we have sitting somewhere. Now, before doing this, I had gone ahead to actually install our on-premise data gateway. So if I just open on-premise data gateway here, just want to open it up for you so you see that I have it installed. So let me sign in. Uh, there we go. And this account is actually an Office 365 developer account with a customized domain that I did. And if you want to know how to do that, actually have a blog post on my website s@adranyu.me. You can check that out. I show you how to do that. And actually in today's session, there's something you need to know about that. So I'll show you a combination of this account and then using the community plan, and I'll explain why, so you get a lot understanding and insight into it. Okay. So what I'll do is that after I have shown you this, we're going to do it all over again. So I'm going to uninstall, actually remove the on-premise data gateway, and then we're going to do it all over again and connect. Now, so as you can see, my on-premise data gateway is available to be used by Power Apps, as you can see here. Let me bring my zoom it back in. Yeah, and then I can go here. So as you can see, the data gateway is ready to be used by my Power Apps and then Power Automate. You realize that Power BI and Logic Apps Azure Analysis Service are not ready for it. Now, and there is a reason to this. By default, if you run the on-premise data gateway installation, it picks the default for your Power BI. It picks the default region for your Power BI. I had to do a custom installation to select my own region. So this is something you need to take into consideration before you begin. Ensure that your Power BI region is the same as, sorry, your Power Apps or your environment or your region is the same as a data gateway you're installing. Because most times the problems you guys face is that you install the data gateway and then it picked your default platform, so your default region, which was not the one in which your Power Apps or Power Automate or Power BI region was. So there was a mismatch in the region and therefore you'd have a couple of problems. If you check that box, the next thing that we'll be talking about is the drivers. For MySQL, it is noted that most of the modding or the latest drivers on MySQL, the .NET drivers, do not play well with the connector in Power Apps. So you either have to downgrade. I'm using a very old one, 6 something. So you need to install that. You need to restart and make sure that that is properly running before you can actually connect with it. The same also for Postgres. Postgres, you need to have, I think, the NPG SQL, the .NET data connectivity drivers for Postgres. You need at least, I think, 4.10 or previous or earlier. Anything above that won't work. So these are the things you need to take into consideration. So what I'm going to do is that after the show, the video is going to be available on demand. I'm also going to put a blog post, outlining all these things, and you can take a look at that. So awesome. So you should have an idea. You should be aware that my on-premise data gateway is running on this machine locally, and also it should be running on a machine that can be on 24/7. If you indeed want to be pulling data from it, it doesn't necessarily have to be on the same machine. All right, but it could be on any machine on the network that you've configured and programmed. All right, so just so you have that in mind. Awesome. Okay, so I'm gonna just go away with this, and we're going to first connect to our Microsoft SQL and see the one date, just the one record there come up, and then we'll connect to the Postgres, and then we'll enter a record and go check our local Postgres database to see if that's there. And then after that, I'm going to uninstall the on-premise data gateway, and then I'll show you how I set it up. And then hopefully it should answer all the questions that most of you had for me. So let's get right into it. So back into our, let me zoom this in. Okay. So I'll go to home. I'm already in the home, and then we are creating what? Start from data, putting here. So I'm going to go. Well, I could have gone more than that, but that's fine. There's no big deal with that. It's going to bring me to. No, let's close this leave page. So it's going to bring me to this page where I kind of choose my connectors. And I'm going to show you how to do this after we removed it. It's quite simple. Basically, all I did was click new connection, selected the connection type, Postgres, SQL, and then provided the information. So here I wanted to use SQL authentication, selected it, used the on-premise data gateway, provided all the information I needed, and then selected my on-premise data gateway and then created the connection. All right, so let's just move on. All right, so I'm going to create an app based on this connection. Let's start with the SQL server, Microsoft SQL Server. So I click on Volta here, and then it's going to pick out the tables it finds in that database. And as you realize, we have one contact table which has one record for the Microsoft SQL database. So I select that and then click on connect, and it does its power magic. And then it's going to scaffold the 3 screens for me: the list, the gallery one, the detailed, and then the add edit screens. Now, so someone will ask, what is this on-premise data gateway? Now, the on-premise data gateway is just a smart app or smart way that Microsoft allows you to expose on-premise data, to the cloud or external applications without having to pinch or alter firewall regulations or configurations. It's firewall friendly. You don't have to go tweaking and opening and exposing ports in your firewall. It just sits right on top of it and then exposes the data you want it to. You can actually manage the users as well who use it, who can create other connections, and then it exposes all your underlying connections on the network to external applications. So that's how cool and simple it is. So as you can see, let me zoom in here. And as you can see, right off the back, we have our data, which is coming from our SQL. Let me open this up. As you can see here, right here, just this record, all right, came off into our application. All right. Now, to prove that this is connected to it, I'm just going to make some changes. So I'm going to, let's run this. Now, another way, another tip, if you want to run this, you can press the Alt key and then you can actually run it right from within the studio. You don't have to, go run it in full and do that. And then if you release it again, if you release the Alt key, you're back in there like edit mode. So let's go run it. So now this is running. I'm going to select this and then I'll edit it just so you know that it's mine or it's me. So let's go ahead and say this will be Samuel at powerseries.com, and then we'll just save this. Row. Now it's changed. Now let's go back to the database and ensure that our change has taken effect. We O here. I'm going back to run this query again, and boom, look at this. It changed it to Samuel, what? As you can see, Samuel at powerseries.com. So right there, we've connected our Power Apps to our on-premise what? Data gateway connected to a local Microsoft SQL database. Now, you should also know that if you're sharing this application with others, they need to have access to this data gateway. So you need to provision them as users, who have access to it for this to work. All right. Now, so let's go ahead and add a new one. So we add a second record here. So let's go back here with our app still running. This is not cool. So let me close this. And instead of using, that whole database thing, I'm just going here and I'll change it to Power Addict. All right. So we have our Power Addict contact. So we're going to list all our Power Addict. So I'm going to run this. And then this time, click here. And let's add, this time, let's say Frank at powerseries.com. And then first name. And hey, today we're not worried about the UI because you can see first name, last name, not properly placed. Today the concentration is how to get your data from on-premise into Power Apps. Okay. And then we can do this. And then again, and then we save this. We see the matching ant on the top. And then boom, we have Frank in here. Let's go back to our database and verify. Select all from contact. And as you can see, by the magic, let me push this here. By the magic, you can see Frank. How did Frank have my surname? Let's go edit this. I'm sure Frank is going to be kicking at me right now. So let's go into the app. Okay, let's go back into our app. Let's select Frank and let's do our edit. Okay, change this. Matching ant. That happens. Now let's go back to our database. I run the same query again and boom, it changes it. Let's show you this. And I think this is a good opportunity for me to introduce to you guys my
That's awesome!
Yes, my sound effect. So I got myself some sound effects, just to spice things up. So that is how we've seen that we're able to create a Power Apps, get data from it into on-premise Microsoft SQL Server. All right. So I can just minimize this and close this. And now let me go to File. Let me save this as MS SQL Addict. All right. Yeah, we put this here. Yeah, that's just fine. We're okay with this, and then I'll just hit save. All right. And then there we go. So this saves the app for us. Okay. I'm going to go back. Okay. Know if you have any questions. All right. Also, let me know if you have any questions in the chat. I will be glad to answer them. All right. So we're not sharing this. Let's go back. Okay. So let's go back here. I'm going to close this for now. Yep. Leave this. Um, So let me know if you have any questions. I'll answer them. So again, we're going to start creating another application, a data-driven, application. So I'm going to go to other data services, and then I'm going to go to the connections that I have created. All right. So let's go ahead. And then this time around, I'm going to select my Postgres. And it is also going in there to look for, how do you call it, to go pick out the tables it finds in that data connection that I've created. So there's also contact here. I select it and create the model. And as that's happening, let's go back to our Postgres instance. And as you realize, you see this has no records. This has no data. Okay, the Postgres database has nothing in it. It's blank. So we're going to connect it and start to send data to it. Once this is out, I'll start walking you through the rudiments of making this happen, right? So there we go. Again, we have an app, and as you can see, it's blank because there's no data coming in from it. So again, let me change this to Power Addict. Okay, awesome. And now let's run this. So now there's nothing. So let's go ahead and hit this. And I would let's do Samuel at powerseries.com. And then let's do Samuel, my last name, and just put something here and save. Okay, now, so you'll be asking, why is it that when I did for the SQL, I didn't have that? Now, one thing to always do is that when you're connecting, ensure that you have a primary key field that probably has something like a serial, like an identity or like an auto increment value, and make sure it's a primary key that you don't have to manually insert. But for the purposes of today's, I'll just put one there and then we'll save this. And then this goes in here. Let's go back and check if this is the case in our Postgres database. So I'm going to open the pgadmin and I'm going to run the same query again. And as you can see, we have our record in there. All right. So that's how simple. Um, well, that's how easy it is. Now, whether you have MySQL, Oracle, any data source, you can connect it to your Power App. Now, let's get into how we make this happen. And I mentioned that first of all, you need to get your on-premise data gateway. That's true. You need to get that sorted. However, you need to also ensure. So let me go ahead and actually save this. Let's go to File. Let's save as. And I'm going to call this we'll call this Postgres Power Addict. And then let's save this. So we're not going to share this. All right. We're just not going to share this for now. We're just saving it. That's fine. And then let's go back. Okay. So I can close this and yeah, leave the space. Okay. Awesome. Now, so now let's start looking at the rudiments. If you look closely here at the top, let me actually take you in here. So if you look closely here, let me zoom in and you check my environment. I have two environments. I have the default environment, okay, which is the one created for you when you create your O365 developer account. And then I have another environment. All right. Now, this environment was provisioned for me by using the Power Apps community plan. Okay. So you'll be asking, well, I have an Office 365 account. Why do I need another account? Okay. Now, so this is the catch. Using on-premise data gateways, common data services like and other stuff requires a license or requires what we call premium connectors. Now, premium connectors are paid for services, not necessarily free. However, if you use the community, the Power Apps community plan, what that gives you access to, it gives you access to all these premium services, but for an individual use, non-sharing, non-commercial, just for you to test, learn, build solutions. All right. So that's the reason why we have to do this. So I think if it's quite easy. I think if I go to Power Apps community plan. I just googled that. I think I bookmarked it somewhere. Yeah. So if you go there, powerapps.microsoft.com, and then you do slash community plan. So this is it. If you already have the O365 user account, all you need to do is to go to this URL and click get started for free. It would automatically provision that for you. So I did that. So now I have access to all the common data services. So gotcha number one. If you were having issues with it, especially some errors, there's a common error that says that your license doesn't allow for this connection. That is the first thing to check. Go get yourself a Power Apps community plan on top of your O365 account, and that's it. You can try CDS, all the premium connectors for free, not shareable, but you'll be able to test and build all your applications. So that is the first thing to check. All right, check that out. Then now, if you look closely, I think we can, let's do this. Let's go here. And let me go to the admin center. I'm going to the admin center because I want to show you the second thing to be mindful of before you start creating your um, on-premise data gateway. All right, before you start creating that. So if I go to environment at the top, let me zoom this in from here. Okay, so if I go to environment at the top here, you can see the two environments. And you can see this is a developer environment and this is a default that comes when you build stuff. Now check the region. Do you realize that all the region is in Europe? All the region, all the regions Europe. So which means that when I'm setting up my data gateway, it has to be somewhere in the Europe region. All right. If it's not, we're going to have a problem. So that's the first thing to to note. All right. So that's one thing here. Now, if I go to my data gateway preview on the left, it's going to load up all my, all the on-premise data gateways I've created. And if you look closely, you have the option to actually select at the top here which region. So when I started creating it by default, mine was just picking South Africa. So I was like, oh no, and it wasn't working. So if I go here and I do West Europe, I can see that I have my data gateway here. So you need to ensure that your environment region matches your data gateway region, and I'll show you how to do that. So this is just the first two things to check out. So now with that said, let's go ahead. I'm actually going to uninstall it. Now, though, you can uninstall and install several times if you want to. You can actually also install as a cluster. And the advantage of installing the on-premise data gateway as a cluster is that um, it's just like creating multiple instances to serve the same purpose. So if one of the data gateways goes down, you still have the subsequent ones to service your request. Now, so you need to understand that if you're doing anything with premium connectors, you need to have either a P1 or P2 Power Apps license. P1 is more or less like small, businesses, not too much data stuff. But then P2 will be like enterprise, you're doing line of business applications, you need more connectors and all that. That would be P2. I know licenses is also a totally different thing when it comes to Power Apps. I'll try to get someone either from the Power Apps teams or someone who is well versed, has the ins and outs of it, and then to talk to you more about that. But for now, we're just going to stick to our community plan and our O365 account. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to uninstall this programs and features so I can close this because I want us to go through the same thing again. Yeah, there's a lot of things on my, so I can do, so on-premise data gateway, I'm going to uninstall this. Yes. And it's just a subtle change to make the region work. Most times you might probably skip it, but it's right there, like right in front of you. So um, let's go for that. So next, we're waiting. And hey, don't forget if you have any questions, just do send them my way. I would answer them for you. If I don't know, I reach out to the awesome Power Addict communities and MVP community, and they will definitely have some answers for me. Now, stick and stay with me till the show ends, because at the end of today's episode, I am going to reveal the superstar coming onto the show, joining me for another episode of Power Series next week. So you don't want to miss this. Stick and stay till the end, and I'll reveal who that mystery guest is. So whilst we are waiting for our on-premise data to uninstall, I think it's time for me to just go ahead and show you some of the problems I had. Now, so for Postgres, I needed, let me actually bring this here into a notepad. So for Postgres, I needed to ensure that I had, this driver or earlier. Okay, I needed to have this. And for MySQL, if you're struggling with MySQL, you need to have at least either 8.0.16 or all the way to 6.x.x. All right, that is what seems to work. Anything above this, no, you're going to have problems. I mean, that's my experience. Unless, of course, someone else has tried with the latest drivers and is working, please share that with me. Let's collaborate and figure out and learn, from each other. All right. So this is done. Beautiful. Now, initially, you can actually Google on-premise data gateway and install if you want to. But a quick way to get that done is if you go to data right within your Power Apps, okay, and then you go to gateways. Now, so this is what we have currently. You can just go ahead and click. Now, if you don't have anything here, you see a button that says New Gateway. All right. So all you need to do is to hit New Gateway. This will take you to another page where you can download the on-premise data gateway. Now, with the on-premise data gateway, there's something you also need to do. There are two types of the on-premise data gateway. There's the on-premise data gateway personal. All right, the personal edition, and then there is a general on-premise data gateway. What's the difference? Now, for on-premise data gateway personal, it only allows you to connect to Power BI. Yep, yep. It only allows you to connect to Power BI and to connect to your own data source that you can technically share with others. But this general one allows you to connect to Power BI, Power Apps, Power Automate, and all that. All right. So you would come here and hit the download right from here, and then go through the download process. I have already downloaded it, so I don't think it's necessary for us, for the sake of time, to go through that again. So I'm going to just go to my download folders right now, and then I'm going to run this. For some OCD reasons, I try to run some of these things as administrator, and this is how it shows up. Okay, this is how it shows up. So shows you where it's going to save at, accept the terms of use, and I click install. All right. Now, walks through the process with me, tries to install whatever it has to install, and then I'm supposed to give it a name. I'm supposed to give it a recovery key in case I want to, change some things with the on-premise data gateway. I can use the recovery key to do that. All right. So let's see whilst we're waiting for that. And hey, don't forget, if you have any questions whilst we are waiting for this to happen, this is a live stream, so unfortunately we'll have to wait on some of these things to happen. It's not that bad of a wait, but if you have any questions, do so to throw it at me either on Twitter or throw it at me on Facebook, throw it at me on any of my platforms where you are watching me right now, and I will be really glad and sure to answer the questions for you. If you have some challenges and you have some ideas, uh, don't forget, all right, come 15, bring that idea, bring that challenge, and members of the Power community in Accra would help you, go through that, all right? Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right. If there any questions, so let me go here and see if some people have questions for me. Yep, yep, yep. Okay. Nothing yet. Awesome. Awesome, 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 awesome. Cool. Yeah, looks like we're good. All right, we're almost there. We are almost there. Okay. Have any Okay, awesome. So looks like that's done. And then it brings you this screen. So here you need to log in and preferably log in with your same org or school account you use for your power apps. Okay, so we're going to use that. Okay, and this should pop up the Microsoft, unified login platform. Thank you very much, my brother from Canada. Tio, it's been a long time, man. Um, we should connect soon. I think I have some power ideas for you to start working on. Yeah, Wise. After connecting to the gateway, how do you enforce refresh? It happens automatically. So if you realize that this is a question that Wise is asking, that how do you enforce refresh after you've connected? So you realize that I didn't have to do anything. It opens the communication between your on-premise data and the Power Apps. So you realize that as I kept adding, the records, it was going straight into the database. The same thing would have happened. Um, the same thing would have happened, if I had done it from my on-prem. It would have just synced with it. Okay. So we select this, and then we enter the password. I almost spoke my password out. Okay. Now, so this is something that let's do this here. So when you get to this point, you are asked whether you want to register a new gateway on this computer or whichever computer you're using, or you want to migrate, restore, or take over an existing gateway. So if you have a gateway already created, this will be the option, whether you want to um, um, take over an old gateway, you want to create a new gateway. So in some cases where people already have resources already in different regions, right? Before creating the on-premise data gateway, and it doesn't make sense to go recreate all those resources in Azure or Power Apps or wherever in those different regions. It makes sense to create another gateway for that. But until then, this is the prudent way to go. So in our case, we want to create a new gateway. So I'm going to select new gateway and then next. And I need to give it a name, all right? So let's call it the power the power gateway. And then here, this is where we talk about the cluster. Let me also zoom this in for you to see. So this is if you had other gateways created and you wanted to create some form of a high availability or redundancy in providing multiple gateways, you check the add to existing gateway cluster. In that case, if this gateway goes down, other subsequent gateways can still service your needs. All right. In our case, we're not doing that. Let's provide a key for it. Provide the recovery key. And now, this is the tricky part. This is the tricky part that most people ignore or most people do not see. Now, check this out. Do you realize that before even you click the configure, check this out here. It says that we'll use this region to connect the gateway cloud services. Look at the region. It is using South Africa North. And this is where the problem comes in. So this is by default. It picks this by default. All right. People miss this and they click on configure and then they realize, whoops, there's a problem. All right. So to change the region to match your power apps or your environment, you just click on right here. All right. As you can see, just here. Click on what? Change region. All right. So I click on it, and now you realize that it's saying that, oh, if it's in Australia Southeast, I should be able to use all these services. All right. But in our case, we know that uh, our Power Apps environment is in Europe. So we need to pick one of the Europe, how do you call it, areas. And you can see changing the gateway region will restrict the regions in which your use gateways in. For Power BI, the gateway can only be used in default tenant region. And our default tenant is what? It's in Europe. All right. So we can either use North or West Europe. So far as it is still in Europe, we'll be fine. All right. So I'll go with the West Europe and I'll click done. And then go ahead and click configure. Now, when this happens, it's going to go through the process and sort this out and then create the on-premise data gateway for me. Now, after that happens, all right, after that happens, this is what's going to change. It is going to give me a tick mark for all the services I can use the gateway for. And yeah, there you go. Check this out. So now I know that for this particular data gateway, I can use it for what? All my resources for Power Apps and Power Automate within this region. All right. Now Power BI, because I have a Power BI instance with this same email or this same account that is pointing to South Africa. That's why this problem is coming. All right. So if I go back there and change that or just recreate it to point to Europe, then I should be fine. Or until the environments that are created, all right, you should be able to do that in a paid or production instance. Let me show you that. So if we go back to here, if we go back to the admin for Power Platform, if I go here to environment, I can create a new environment and then choose a name, select whether it's a sandbox, production, or trial. Now, if you remember, Foyin talked about the governance and creating the need for creating multiple environments for your production. All right. Now, look closely here. I can go ahead and change this to any of those regions. South America, so far, available regions: United States, Europe is the default, Asia, Japan, Canada, UK, preview, another like region preview in the US, then South America and France. So these are the regions. So whatever you choose here, make sure if you're creating an environment in this region, it matches what your on-premise data gateway, has. So these are just a few things that, the gotchas that you're like, oops, I missed this. So at this point, we can check the services, diagnostics. You can actually put in logging so they can actually see how the on-prem data gateway is moving data from your local instances or your local premises onto Power Apps. All right. So yeah, status is fine. We're good. So now let's go back into our Power Apps and see if we can actually make use of of this. So I'm going to go back here. I'm going to go to my apps, and now we can just go back. Let's open the MS SQL one first. Now, the tendency for this to work is high. All right. Why? Because the user is the same. All right. The underlying data store is the same, and then there is what? There is actually, how do you call it? There's a data gateway that will allow me to communicate with it. I just need to go in there and make, just some small changes. Now I realize that the record is not found because the gateway has changed, right? So let's go in there and edit this. It's quite simple. So I'm going to go to gateways, and yeah, it's a Power Gateway, right? In our environment. This is what we just created. So I'm just going to our connections because our connections are using the gateways. All right, don't forget that. And then we'll go here and then we'll edit. And then go down and you see the gateway, drop down and pick your what? The Power Gateway. And that's just about it. But I need to provide, that the information again, which you need to know the username and password you want to use. A good practice would be to create a new user or login for those for access to your. So this way your admins will come in and create a service account that you can connect to. All right. All right. With that said, I click on save, and this should just immediately wire it up. Should just wire up. So if I have any data source or any data thing on my premise, in this case on my laptop right now, I should be able to use that. So let's go back here and let's just refresh and let's see what happens. So let me just how do you call it? let's close this and go back to our apps and let's reopen it again. And hopefully this should have synced it properly. Where are the matching ant? Let's run this. The specified record was not found. Gateway said that offline could not be reached. Okay, well let's just do this. I'm just going to edit this again. All right, so let's go back here. I'm going to go to the connections. This is connected. We're good with that. Let's just go to the apps and let's go and edit our app. While you're waiting for that to open, and hey, let me know if you have any questions. Um, I would. Okay. So the app has one or more implicit shared connections, and as you can see, it's loaded right here. So I just have to open the studio for it to sync. That was just it. So to prove that we're still in there, we have two records in SQL. Let's add another one just to be sure, and this time it's going to be yao at powerseries.com. The first name is Yao, and I'll be sure not to use my last name for Yao. Okay, and then we do this, and then I hit save and refresh, and Yao is here. Let's go back to our data store and see. Just run this query again, and there you go, Yao is there. Okay, so to test the theory, or what how do you call it? Let me do this. Let me just bring this here a bit. Let me unpin this. Actually, let's do it this way. All right. So to test what Wise was asking, so let's do this. Let's go here. Let's say insert um, insert what contact, and let's do this. We're inserting into what first name, last name, email, and then what phone, right? And then value. So here let's do Wise, and let's put your surname here, and then first what's the email? So let's do Wise at powerseries.com, and then your phone number. We'll just put this here, and then we close this. All right, so let's see what's happening. What is it saying? Invalid column name Wise. How is that possible? Why is that possible? Yeah, sometimes I get a bit, wrapping this around my head because I do some Oracle stuff as well. So I'm like, hey, wait a minute, just like multiple stuff going haywire. All right, so let's execute this. One rule affected, and then let's so select all from our select has extra is. Let's run this. So we have Wise here. So let's come back to the app. Okay, all I have to do just refresh, and data comes in, and Wise, you are in there. All right. I hope this answered your question. So that is how to create your on-premise data gateway. We're mindful of the region, and then we've connected it to a SQL instance. Quite very simple. All right. Now Let me show you how to add the connection so far. Um, so in my case, I was still having some issues with. Let's go to connections. I was still having some issues with how do you call it? With MySQL, right? But hey, we're going to try again. I know I'm having some drivers issues, but this is how you go about it. And hey, let's go edit our Postgres as well because we've changed the gateway. So the same thing, just have to put in the username and the password. And this time around, select the correct gateway and save. And this will now reconnect the other app's data source to it properly. So now, how do you now add this custom connectors? All right, great. So now you go to connections. Now you can do it. You can choose to go this route, or you can choose to go when you are about to create the application. You select the data source. Questing. I guess I was hoping the refresh would be instantaneous. There's a way to do that. All right, I'll show that in another episode I'm working on. There's actually a way to get an instant refresh from your data source and your front end. All right, there's a way to do that where as soon as the value changes, it's just like the way you send data to Power BI for instant refresh. So hold on, baby steps wise, I'll come to that. And maybe, just maybe, if I'm feeling it, I might show this at the boot camp on the 15th. So hey, make a day with us. All right. So to do this, you just go to make sure you're in the connections and click on new connection. And as you can see, all the premium connections are marked with premium. So from SharePoint, OneDrive, Dynamics, the SQL, we've already done that. There's Adobe Creative Studio, Adobe Sign, a lot of them, quite a lot. I'm going to try the MySQL again. I know I'm having issues. It won't work because I'm trying to still troubleshoot it. But so in this case, I think it is localhost 3306. The database name I think is demo, and the username is demo, and the password I won't speak out, and Power Gateway. Yes, that's what we're working on now. Well, I don't know. I don't expect it to work because it's been giving me problems. I had to install drivers several times. I'm still working on it. So, yep. Okay, so this is more of an authentication issue. Initially, I was having something with the driver, so I had to, downgrade my drivers. But this looks a bit different. So this is more or less like an authentication saying the caching SHS2 password not supported by any available plugins. So which means authentication for caching SH2. Okay, I think I know what this is. I hope it works, but I hope it's what I'm thinking. All right. So let me show you this. Let me bring my workbench. Let me bring my workbench and ensure that my SQL service is running. Yeah, MS. Okay, you know what? Let me just try this again. Let's see. Maybe I got the instance name wrong, but I think if it's the same, that authentication error, we could try something else. Because now I've moved from. Oh, okay. Um, yeah. So that's not. So I think this is the right one. This is the right one. Okay. So as of now, it's just basic authentication. I believe that maybe another solution might be to go back to configuring the database and change the connection to maybe legacy. Okay, let's first try to let's try what I mean. So this is my workbench. All right, I'm trying to figure out if this helps. So this is my workbench. Let me connect to the demo instance here, and I'm going to go to the users and privileges. And this is a demo user. Okay, you know what? Let me delete all the demo users. Let me delete all the demo users. Okay, well, um, so let's create a new user. Okay, and let's call this user power. Now check this out. So this is where I believe that, okay, so this is why I'm for the standard password and or host based authentication select. Hmm. So this is where I mean, it's not a caching SH2 password, which is the error we're getting. This is more of SH. Okay, so let's try. Let me just do standard. Let me be just sure I'm doing standard. And I'll just leave this here and let's do the password again. And then, so username, don't forget, username is power. Let's see, for the sakes of schema privileges. Okay, apply. Mm, mm, mm. You need at least one of the system user privileges for operating this account. Okay, you know what? I'm going to close this and actually use a local instance. This is a root account, so I should be able to create such user and actually delete this user. Yeah, okay, awesome. So let's add, I'm going to delete power, all right, and then let's create a new demo user. I hope you can see this. So this also is going to be standard, everything. Okay. Okay, so let's see, account doesn't has all these privileges. Um, let's add an entry to all schemas for demo. Let's give him all this access. Okay, I mean, this is not, and please do the right thing. Principle of least privileges. Don't go about granting all these options to users who don't need it, all right? I'm just trying to troubleshoot just to get the connection to my, I can always change this. So let's apply this. Awesome. So it looks like our user now is created. Let's go back and check. And we use standard. So I hope this actually helps. So let's come back here. Let's try to add it again. The database name, the server name is localhost 3306. Database name is demo. So yeah, basic. Username we all remember is demo. Password I won't share with you. Create your own password. Let's try. If I hope this works. If it works, cool. Okay, yeah. So if this doesn't work, my next thing that I'll try out, and I'll surely I'll make sure I update you on this, is to go back to my SQL database engine, and I think there's an option where you can choose your authentication style. I might probably change it to legacy, and come back and try again. But hey, this is in preview, all right? So I'm sure the team is doing a lot of work in trying to resolve this. But for now, um, as you saw, that is how to install your on-premise data gateway. Make sure your regions map, and then you can connect data to your data source. And wise, you know what? I'm going to give you an exclusive. Let's see this. I'm just making a note. I'm going to give you an exclusive on the 15th. I'll show you. So if you want to know how to do that, come see us at the Global Power Platform Bootcamp 15th February 29, 2020. What? 15th February 2020 at NIT from 9 to 5. Okay. So with that said, that is how easy we saw to create on-premise data gateway, set it up, configure it so that you can have access to your Microsoft SQL, MySQL, Postgres, and any other data source you have locally to communicate with your Power Apps or Power Automate or Power BI. Remember, if you want to take this to production, you need a P1, P2 license. All right. If you want to share it, you need to also allow or add those users to the data on-prem. All right, you need to do that. Now, for the big announcement you all have been waiting for, let's see if I can get this open somewhere. Yeah. And so this gives me another opportunity. This gives me another opportunity to hold on. This gives me another opportunity to use my sound effect. Okay. Um, to use my sound effect to introduce. So, before I do the introduction, just to keep you in suspense, if you like this show, please make sure subscribe. Hit the subscribe, this particular subscribe button, hit it and hit the bell so you can be the first to receive my all notifications. Also, don't forget to follow me on Twitter. Hashtag at SADRANYI. I'm going to put it right now on the screen. I need you to follow me because there's a lot of goodies coming. On YouTube, you can get me at this is my YouTube channel as well. On all my social media handles, YouTube, all of it, this is where you can get me. I need you to follow me because a lot of goodness is coming. So, suspense, hold on. Let me show you this before. So this is me, all right, on all my social media handles, right? This is it. Follow me on Twitter, follow me on all my social media handles, and let's get interactive. Let's share some power. Let's learn how to create these things. Let's be awesome. All right. Now, are you ready? I think it's time for me to use my drum roll. All right. So, it's a pleasure. It's a privilege. It's an honor. All right. It's awesome and blessed to share the next legend, the next superstar, the next god coming onto this show. And he is in the person of. Wait for it. Wait for it.
Awesome.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I think it deserves another round of applause. Yes, yes. The Power Ultimate God himself is coming on the show next Sunday. And you don't want to miss this. If you miss it, well, it's your own problem. But you don't want to miss this. He's coming on live to tell us what's new on the Power Platform. John is a senior platform evangelist for Power Platform at Microsoft, and he is going to tell us a lot of the cool stuff coming up. So tell a friend to tell another friend to tell a friend to tell another friend. Join us next Sunday for awesomeness, where we learn a lot more about the Power Platform. Till then, this has always been the Power Series with yours truly, Samuel Atranyi, and I will catch you next Sunday.